The sun was just beginning to set over the Malibu coastline, casting long shadows across the sand and giving the ocean a golden shimmer. From a distance, the beach house looked serene, like a postcard from a summer dream. But inside, chaos was brewing. Screams had already pierced the calm, and a single heartbeat of silence hung heavy in the air before it happened. The gunshot. It echoed like thunder between the walls of the modern home. In the living room, the once idyllic setting, white linen sofas, framed family portraits, soft music still playing from a nearby speaker, was now the backdrop for a scene of raw panic and violence. Sheila Sharp, Kimberlyn Brown, ever unpredictable and always dangerous, had lunged forward in a desperate bid to snatch the gun from Luna Nozawa, Lisa Yamada. The two women struggled, hands grappling for control, eyes wide with fear and fury. And then the weapon discharged. For a moment, no one moved. Sheila's face twisted in confusion, and then pain. Blood began to soak through her blouse, right over the abdomen. A sharp gasp escaped her lips, and with a staggered step backward, she collapsed, her body hitting the floor with a dull thud. Her eyes blinked rapidly as she tried to comprehend the pain, an almost alien sensation for a woman who had inflicted so much of it. Across the room, Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, stood frozen, her breath caught in her throat. The weapon was still in Luna's hands, trembling violently. For a split second, Luna's finger twitched dangerously near the trigger again. "Don't move!" Luna screamed, her voice shrill and trembling. "I didn't mean to, I just wanted to stop her." Steffi didn't move a muscle. One wrong step, one startled reaction, and this would turn into a massacre. The terror in the room was palpable. Luna's hands shook with every breath she took, her eyes darting between Sheila's body and Steffi's terrified face. Her mind was racing. How did I get here? What am I doing? What have I done? Outside, just beyond the glass patio doors, Liam Spencer, Scott Clifton, had arrived. Moments earlier, he had been on the phone with Hope Logan, Annika Noel, their conversation light, even romantic. But he had sensed something off. The house looked peaceful, but his instincts screamed otherwise. Now he stood at the edge of a nightmare. Through the glass, he saw the gun in Luna's hand. He saw Sheila's collapsed figure. And most of all, he saw Steffi, standing in mortal danger, barely able to breathe. Liam didn't hesitate. He kicked the door open with a crash, splintering wood and shattering the illusion of calm. His eyes locked with Steffi's for one agonizing second. She whispered his name. "Liam." And that's when Luna panicked. As the door flung open and Liam rushed in, Luna's hands jerked. The trigger moved. Another shot rang out, sharp and sudden. Liam fell. Time slowed. Steffi screamed. Luna dropped the gun and backed away, horrified. Liam's body hit the floor, hand clutching his side, blood pooling beneath him. "I didn't mean to," Luna cried out again, voice cracking as she fell to her knees beside him. "Oh my God, I didn't mean to." Steffi rushed forward, crouching beside Liam, pressing her hand to his wound. Her tears flowed freely now. "Stay with me. Please, Liam, stay with me." Liam tried to speak. His lips moved, and barely above a whisper he said, Are you safe?" Those 3 words shattered her. "Don't talk. You saved me. Just stay awake. Please." And all the while, in the background, Sheila was still conscious. She turned her head slightly, coughing up blood. A cruel, broken smile played on her lips as she looked toward her son's wife. "Always drama," she muttered, before losing consciousness again. Sirens could now be heard faintly in the distance. Help was on the way, but it might be too late. The wailing sirens grew louder as the Malibu night darkened, chasing away the golden twilight that had so cruelly framed the violence just moments before. In that beautiful, isolated beach house, once a haven of family gatherings and whispered secrets, blood now marked the floor, and silence reigned after the screams had faded. Steffi's hands were soaked with Liam's blood. Her voice, hoarse and cracking, repeated the same desperate words over and over. "Stay with me, Liam. Please, just stay." Liam's face was pale, his breathing shallow. The bullet had hit him in the abdomen, high enough to miss his heart, but low enough to risk internal bleeding. Time was slipping away like sand through fingers, and they both knew it. Across the room, Luna Nozawa had collapsed against the wall, staring blankly at what she had done. Her mind reeled, replaying the moment her finger jerked on the trigger. The face of Liam, the man she'd once laughed with at Forrester Creations, flashing before her eyes, his fall, the look in Steffi's eyes. The unbearable realization, I shot a man. I almost killed someone, trying to stop someone else from dying. The weight of it crushed her, paralyzing every limb. It was Steffi who finally shouted, "Luna, call 911 again. Tell them we need 2 ambulances now. No, maybe 3. But Luna didn't move. In that moment, Liam's phone buzzed on the floor. Hope Logan's name flashed across the screen. She had sensed something was wrong during their call. Now, with no answer and no callback, her anxiety was turning to full panic. Meanwhile, the front door burst open again, this time not by force, but by the arrival of first responders. EMTs rushed in with stretchers and trauma kits, assessing the chaos before them. Gunshot wound, male, mid-30s, abdomen, one medic reported. Another victim, female, late 50s, gunshot wound to lower torso. We need backup now. The scene turned clinical, efficient chaos replacing emotional paralysis. Steffi moved aside reluctantly as they treated Liam. His shirt was cut open, pressure applied, vitals assessed. BP's dropping. We're losing him. Get the IV started now. Sheila was still alive, barely. Her breathing was erratic and her face pale. As she was rolled onto a stretcher, she whispered, "Finn, tell him, I didn't mean..." The EMT looked at her quizzically. "Ma'am, stay with me, don't talk." But Sheila never listened to instructions. Outside, the flashing red and blue lights lit up the beach. A small crowd had gathered, neighbors, joggers, curious tourists, each whispering, "What happened in there?" And among them, Bill Spencer, Don Demont, arrived. He had gotten a call from someone at the hospital, alerting him that Luna may have been involved in a shooting. He pushed through the onlookers and demanded to see his son. But what he found instead was Steffi, bloodied and shaken, staring blankly as Liam was wheeled into the ambulance. "What the hell happened?" Bill asked, his voice harsh. Steffi's lips trembled. "He saved me, Bill. Liam took a bullet for me." "And Luna?" Steffi turned slowly. Luna was now seated on the back of a patrol car, blanket around her shoulders, surrounded by officers trying to understand how everything had gone so horribly wrong. "She had the gun," Steffi whispered. "She was going to shoot me." Sheila jumped her. The gun went off. Sheila was hit. Then Liam, he came in, tried to protect me. And she shot him too. Bill's face hardened as he turned toward Luna. His expression was unreadable, equal parts rage, disappointment, and something else, guilt. He had pulled strings for Luna's release. He had believed she could be redeemed. And now Liam might die because of it. As the ambulances pulled away, one carrying Liam, one with Sheila, and soon, another for Luna, the night finally settled into its eerie silence again. Back at the hospital, news spread like wildfire across the corridors of University Hospital Los Angeles. Liam Spencer was in surgery, Sheila was critical, and Luna Nozawa was about to be booked. For what exactly, no one yet knew. Doctors Grace Buckingham, Lee Finnegan, and Bridget Forrester were already scrubbing in, called back into duty for what could become one of the most chaotic nights of their careers. And somewhere in the shadows of the trauma ward, Dr. John Finn Finnegan, Tanner Novlin, was arriving, completely unaware that his mother and his wife had both been injured in the same violent outburst. He hadn't yet seen Sheila's chart. He hadn't yet seen Steffi covered in blood. And he hadn't yet been told that Liam had taken a bullet for her. But all of that was about to change. At University Hospital, the air was thick with tension. Doctors moved quickly, nurses shouted out orders, and the sound of rolling gurneys echoed off the sterile walls. Somewhere amidst the chaos, the past and present of the bold and the beautiful collided. Love, betrayal, and bloodshed all converging under flickering fluorescent lights. Dr. John Finn Finnegan burst through the ER entrance, still in his civilian clothes. His pager had buzzed repeatedly. Multiple trauma cases incoming, family members involved. But nothing could prepare him for what he was about to face. "Where is she?" Finn demanded, eyes wild. A nurse hesitated. "Which one, doctor?" Those words froze him. "What do you mean?" "Sheila Sharp, your mother. She's been shot." Finn's face went pale. "And so has Liam Spencer," the nurse added. "He took a bullet to the abdomen while protecting Steffi. Your wife is unharmed, physically." Finn blinked. "Where is she now?" "In the surgical waiting room. She hasn't said a word since she arrived." Meanwhile, in OR3, Liam Spencer's surgery was underway. Dr. Lee Finnegan stood at the operating table, barking orders with steely precision. "Clamp that artery now. If we lose more blood, he's gone." Bridget Forrester assisted, wiping sweat from her brow. "Vitals are unstable." Lee's thoughts raced. "This is Steffi's Liam, the father of her daughter, and I won't let him die." At the same time, across the surgical wing, Sheila was being prepped in a different OR. Her condition was worsening. Internal bleeding, labored breathing, and a stubborn refusal to lose consciousness. Grace Buckingham monitored her vitals, while an attending trauma surgeon tried to stabilize her. "She's still awake," Grace noted. Sheila, barely audible, whispered, "Tell Finn, I tried. I was trying to stop her, not hurt her." "Save your strength," Grace said impassively. "You've hurt enough people already." In the waiting area, Steffi sat alone, still in the bloodied clothes from earlier that evening. Her hands shook in her lap. Every so often she closed her eyes and saw Liam falling. Heard the shot again, the flash, the silence, the scream, her scream. Finn approached quietly, unsure of what to say. "Steffi." She opened her eyes, met his gaze. For a moment there was relief. Then the floodgates opened. "It was Luna," she whispered. "She had a gun. She aimed it at me." Finn froze. "What?" Sheila tried to stop her. They fought. The gun went off. Sheila was hit. Liam burst in to save me, and Luna shot him." Finn sat beside her, his hands clenched. "Where is Luna now?" "In custody, I think. She didn't run. She didn't even cry, just froze." The weight of everything hit him at once. His biological mother, the most dangerous woman he'd ever known, had intervened to stop a shooting. His wife had nearly died. His friend, his rival, had been shot protecting her, and the girl he and Bill Spencer had fought to protect had become the aggressor. Back at Spencer Publications, word of the shooting spread fast. Hope Logan broke down in tears upon learning that Liam was in surgery. "He was just talking to me," she sobbed. "He said he'd see me soon." Meanwhile, Bill Spencer was facing harsh scrutiny. Social media was already abuzz. Billionaire's favor backfires. Luna Nozawa shoots Liam Spencer. Katie Logan called in fury. "You vouched for her. You pulled strings to give her another chance." Bill was quiet, stoic, but inside the guilt festered. "She's not a killer," he finally said. Something snapped in her. "I don't know what, but this isn't the Luna I fought for." "You gave her the chance to hurt people," Katie spat. "And Liam might die because of it." Police investigation begins. At the hospital, Luna was moved to a secure room under light sedation. Detectives began the first stages of their inquiry. Detective Baker reviewed the reports. Multiple eyewitnesses, 2 victims, 1 weapon, registered under a different name. "What was her motive?" his partner asked. "That's what we're going to find out." Outside Luna's room, Finn watched through the glass. She looked small, pale, and impossibly young. Bill arrived moments later. "Don't blame her," he said softly. "You saw what happened to Sheila, what she did to people. Luna never had a chance." "She pointed a gun at my wife," Finn replied coldly, "and shot Liam." Bill nodded grimly. "And now she'll have to live with that." Cliffhanger ending. Just before midnight, a nurse approached Steffi and Finn. "Dr. Finnegan, he's out of surgery. Liam's stable." Steffi gasped, her eyes flooding with tears. "And Sheila?" Finn asked, barely breathing. The nurse hesitated. "She made it through, but she's not out of the woods." As Steffi clung to Finn, a camera pans down the hospital corridor, where a familiar figure stood in the shadows. Luna's mother, eyes wide, jaw clenched, and her presence promises even more chaos to come. The sterile halls of University Hospital buzzed with controlled urgency. Though the immediate chaos had passed, the emotional storm was far from over. Now came the most fragile part, the waiting. Inside the intensive care unit, Liam Spencer lay still beneath white hospital linens. His complexion was pale, marked by bruising and the telltale tubes and wires of post-operative monitoring. Machines beeped in rhythmic time, each sound reminding Steffi that, for now, he was alive. She stood at his bedside, gripping his hand like a lifeline. Her voice trembled as she spoke softly, almost to herself. "You didn't have to save me, but you always do. No matter what we've been through, you always come back for me." Outside the room, Hope Logan had just arrived. She stood frozen, watching the intimate moment from behind the glass. Her heart ached, not only from fear of losing Liam, but from the realization that the man who once belonged only to her might still carry a torch for someone else. She didn't walk in. She turned away. Elsewhere in the hospital, Dr. John Finn Finnegan was torn between 2 realities. In one room was Sheila, the woman who gave him life, but also brought endless chaos and pain. Her vitals were improving, but barely. The bullet had damaged her intestines, and complications were inevitable. She drifted in and out of consciousness, whispering his name each time she stirred. "Finn, I saved Steffi, she murmured once, eyes flickering open. He stared at her from the foot of the bed. You also created the danger, Sheila. You brought it into our home. She was going to shoot her, Sheila insisted, barely audible. I couldn't let her die. Finn didn't reply. In his eyes was a storm, anger, confusion, and a sliver of reluctant compassion. If what Steffi said was true, Sheila had intervened. But was that enough to erase the blood on her hands? Luna's isolation. In another part of the hospital, Luna Nozawa sat alone in a psychiatric holding room under 24-hour observation. She wore hospital scrubs now. Her hands trembled as she recounted the events over and over again, to the detectives, the attending psychiatrist, and worst of all, to herself. I didn't mean to shoot Liam, she kept saying. It just went off. I wasn't trying to kill anyone. But intent couldn't erase consequence. Bill Spencer stood behind a two-way mirror, watching her crumble. His jaw was clenched tight, his heart heavy. He had believed in her, fought for her release, gave her a second chance. And now? She was a suspect in a shooting investigation, possibly facing charges of attempted murder, and public opinion was brutal. Social media was a wildfire. Hashtags like #LunaShootsLiam and #SpencerScandal trended within hours. News networks ran live updates. Even fashion bloggers from Forrester circles speculated about how this would impact the brand. The return of Poppy Nozawa. Just when it seemed the hospital couldn't hold another ounce of drama, Poppy Nozawa arrived. She stormed through the ER entrance with fire in her eyes, demanding to see her daughter. What have you done to her? Poppy shouted at the officers on duty. She's a victim, not a criminal. She brought a loaded weapon into someone's home, one officer replied. 3 people were injured, 1 almost died. She's not just a victim. Where's Bill Spencer? Poppy snapped. He was supposed to protect her. When she found him, her fury spilled out. You let this happen, she screamed. You opened the door for her to get hurt. And now you're just standing there? Bill didn't flinch. I did what I thought was right. I fought for her to have a life. Poppy's voice broke. And now she might lose it. Steffi and Hope, the emotional divide. Back at Liam's bedside, Steffi had just stepped out when Hope finally entered. She sat beside Liam, brushing his hair from his forehead. I should have told you not to go, she whispered. I felt something was wrong, and I should have begged you to stay. She paused, her voice cracking. I still love you, Liam, and I don't care what happens between you and Steffi. I just want you to open your eyes and come back to Beth and me. In the hallway, Steffi listened. She didn't walk in. This time, she was the one who turned away. Final scene, a race that never ends. As night deepened over Los Angeles, the hospital lights flickered. Doctors moved in and out. Papers were signed. Nurses whispered to one another about the beach house shooting. And somewhere in the surgical unit, Finn finally made a decision. He walked into Sheila's room, sat beside her, and held her hand. Not out of love, not even out of forgiveness, but because for once, she had done the right thing. I don't know if I'll ever trust you, he said softly, but thank you for saving Steffi. Sheila's eyes glistened. That's all I ever wanted, to be part of the family. Finn looked down. You're not, but maybe tonight, you were more than just a monster. And with that, the screen fades to black, leaving viewers with more questions than answers. The next morning, a strange stillness settled over Los Angeles. But inside University Hospital, hearts still raced, wounds still bled, and the consequences of the night before had only just begun to ripple through the lives of everyone involved. The beach house shooting had become front-page news. Spencer Air shot saving Forrester heiress, read one headline. Sheila Carter hospitalized after gunfire returns to haunt LA's elite, screamed another. News crews camped outside the hospital. Reporters badgered police spokespeople. Bloggers speculated wildly. Was Luna suffering from trauma? Did Sheila plan this all along? Would Liam survive? And who would he choose once he woke up? But behind the glare of cameras and public outrage, the emotional toll on the families was far more devastating. Finn and Steffi, a marriage on the edge. At the Forrester guest house later that day, Finn and Steffi sat in silence. The sunlight poured through the window, but it didn't warm them. Finn spoke first, his voice heavy. Sheila could have let Luna shoot you. She didn't. Steffi looked up, eyes tired. Are you asking me to forgive her? No, he said. I'm asking you to see that. Sometimes, even the worst people can make one good choice. Steffi turned away. And what about Luna? She almost killed both of us. Finn nodded slowly. I know, but I also know she's not a killer. She was manipulated, pushed to the edge. She snapped. She snapped while holding a loaded gun, Finn. That's not a mistake. It's a decision. Their silence said more than words. There were cracks in their marriage now, not just because of Sheila, not just because of Liam, but because they had both stood at the edge of something terrible and seen different truths. Liam wakes up. Back at the hospital, Liam Spencer opened his eyes for the first time in nearly 36 hours. Hope was there, holding his hand. Her face lit up with relief as she whispered, "You're back." Liam blinked slowly. "Where's Steffi? Is she okay?" That question hit like a knife. Hope hesitated. "She's fine, thanks to you." Liam tried to speak, but his throat was dry. "Luna, You saved Steffi," Hope said quickly. "Don't think about anything else." But Liam's mind already was. Even through the painkillers and fatigue, he remembered Luna's face, the fear, the gun, the shot, and then darkness. And somehow he felt no anger, just sadness. Bill faces the music. In his office at Spencer Publications, Bill Spencer stared at a wall of press clippings. Headlines about his son, about Luna, about himself. Katie stormed in, not bothering to knock. "She almost killed your son," she said, "and you still won't say it out loud." Bill didn't flinch. "I said it to myself all night." "She's your responsibility, Bill." "I know," he replied, "and I'll fix it. I don't care what it costs." "You can't buy your way out of this," Katie hissed. "Not this time." She walked out, leaving him with a photo of Luna on his desk and a decision to make. Luna's legal fate. The investigation into Luna Nozawa's actions was moving fast. The evidence was damning. The weapon, the witnesses, the injuries. But there were complications. Sheila had technically started the physical altercation. Luna had no criminal record, and her mental health was under serious question. Detective Baker gave his preliminary report to the DA's office. There's a chance the DA may push for involuntary commitment over criminal prosecution if her lawyers can argue trauma. But nothing was certain, and public pressure was building. Poppy, desperate and angry, held a press conference. "My daughter is not a criminal. She needs help, not a prison cell." But to the families of Liam and Steffi, that wasn't enough. The future unwritten. By week's end, Sheila Carter had been moved to a private recovery wing under police watch. Her survival was a bitter pill for many, but her act of bravery couldn't be denied. Liam remained in recovery, surrounded by tension. Hope visited daily. Steffi came less frequently, but when she did, the connection between them was palpable. Finn, emotionally exhausted, buried himself in work. His guilt over Sheila, over Luna, and over nearly losing Steffi consumed him. And Luna? She sat alone, awaiting judgment, legal and moral, her future hanging by a thread. Final moments. The episode ends not with drama, but with reflection. Steffi visits Liam's room late at night. He's asleep. She sits beside him and whispers, "You've always been there for me, even when you shouldn't have been." She leans forward, kisses his forehead, and leaves quietly. Down the hall, Finn watches from a distance, his expression unreadable. And in a dark room nearby, Luna looks out a small window as raindrops begin to fall. Tears slide down her cheeks as she whispers to no one, "I'm sorry." Fade to black. Thank you and call to action. And so ends one of the most explosive episodes in the bold and the beautiful history. A night of terror, sacrifice, and unexpected redemption. With Sheila's fate uncertain, Luna's life in limbo, and Liam's heart torn between two women, the road ahead is full of twists. Don't miss the next episode. What comes next may just break the Forrester and Spencer families forever. Thanks for reading. If you enjoyed this detailed breakdown, leave a comment, like, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Hello and goodbye.